I'd like to call the Oakland County Board of Commissioners meeting for March 24th, 2022 to order, and I will ask the clerk to call the roll.
Commissioners Cavell,
Here.
Charles,
Present.
Gershenson,
Here.
Gingell, Hoffman,
Present.
Jackson, Joliet,
Here.
Kokendorfer,
Here.
Kowal,
Here.
Kuhn,
Here.
Long,
Here.
Lubes,
Here.
Markham,
Here.
McGilvray,
Here.
Miller,
Here.
Moss, Nelson,
Here.
Powell, Spiz,
Present.
Weipert, and Woodward is excused with notice. Madam Chair, I've waited 3 years to say that. Madam Chair, you have a quorum.
Thank you very much. This evening, our invocation will be given by the Honorable Mike Gingell, and I'd like to ask everyone please rise for the invocation and the Pledge of Allegiance.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just ask that we'd all bow our heads as we pray. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day and for your grace and mercy, and we just thank you for the way that you love us and provide for us. We thank you for Oakland County and all the blessings that you bestowed on us here. And Lord, I just pray tonight that you would give us your favor and wisdom as we decide the people's business. And Lord, I also pray that you'd give us open minds and help us to understand that we're individuals with individual opinions. And if someone doesn't agree with me, that's fine. They can have their own opinion, and I don't have to attack them or be malicious. Lord, help us to be reasonable people and help us to be wise as we go about the matters before us this evening. And we pray this in Jesus' name, amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Next, I need a motion to approve the minutes from the March 10th, 2020 meeting as presented. Moved by Commissioner Miller, seconded by Commissioner Spiz. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Let the record reflect that the minutes have been approved. I'd like to call on, next I have to get a motion to approve the agenda as presented, and I'd like to call on Commissioner Kristen Nelson.
Thank you, Madam Vice Chair. I'd like to make a motion to remove item F from the consent agenda, which is board resolution declaring Oakland County's support, respect, and appreciation of our law enforcement officers from the consent agenda over to the regular agenda.
Moved by Commissioner Kowal.
Nelson.
Pardon me, seconded by?
It's moved by her.
Oh, it's moved by Nelson, seconded by Kowal. Okay, thank you. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of approving the agenda as Yep. I'm sorry, I can't hear you, Commissioner.
We had item 16A that was on the agenda that we had pulled it off. Do we need to make that comment? I know it's not in Civic Clerk, but it was originally on the agenda.
Correct.
That was published to the public. So do we need to make that comment that we're removing that from the agenda for tonight?
I need to say that right now?
I'm just wondering, do we? 16A.
I was under the impression I did not need to say anything, but I'm happy to say that we pulled item 16 off the agenda if I...
So do you want these together or separate? So in addition to removing item F under the consent agenda to our regular agenda, I'm also moving to remove item 16A, which is Neighborhood Housing and Development Grant Acceptance with the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development for the program, year of 2021, Home Investment Partnership. Thank you.
Okay, so I need a motion to approve the agenda as presented then, and I would say that's moved by Commissioner Nelson and seconded by Commissioner Kowal. Any discussion? Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of approving the agenda as presented say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Aye. Let the record reflect that the agenda as presented has been approved. That moves us on to communications and an exciting first-time event for us. We have some wonderful honorees in the audience to honor Women's History Month. So I'd like to call on the Honorable Angela Powell to step to the podium to talk about our inaugural Women's History Month awards.
Hello, everyone. Again, I'm Commissioner Angela Powell, and I serve District 10. And the Women's History Month. So here at the County Commission, we pass a lot of resolutions in honor of different things on a monthly basis. And it was charged to our caucus by my colleague, Commissioner Charles, that we should try to tie in doing something in connection with, you know, the different monthly things that go on. And so for this month, we know that March is Women's History Month. And I thought it would be great that we, each commissioner, if they would like, to nominate or submit a women that they thought was appreciative or respectful to receive such an honoree from us. And also, we get to know people from your district. I'm real big on honoring citizens who do the work, do things, and I love to hear about them. So I thought I would share the idea. Our staff, I want to thank Sarah and our staff, Chief of Staff Patty, who jumped right on it, put it together for me, and our colleagues to be able to honor you wonderful individuals who are here with us this evening. So I'm going to kick it off with my first, with the person that I nominated for my district. Her name is Portia Fields Anderson. And what we're going to do is each commissioner was charged to write up a brief description of their individual honoree, and they'll read their own when it come up. So I'll start with Ms. Fields Anderson. Portia Fields Anderson has a reputation of being selfless, energetic, and passionate about individuals from all walks of life. While her work has reached many people throughout the state, her innovative efforts are felt immensely by the Pontiac community. She has served in several leadership roles, such as Director of Community and Human Services for the City of Pontiac, Therapeutic Recreational Program Supervisor for Oakland County, Assistant Superintendent with the Huron-Clinton Metro Parks, and a dance and art instructor in her personal time. Ms. Fields Anderson goes above and beyond for those in Oakland County and around the state. And as she likes to say, she doesn't just count the days, she makes the days count. So I would like to bring up Ms. Portia Fields Anderson to be presented on today in Pontiac, Michigan, here with us. I'm sorry, hold on. I think I went out of order of doing stuff.
It's okay if you just want to bring all the commissioners and all the honorees up.
Oh, we'll do it all at the last,
And we can go through all of the descriptions at the same time, but everyone just.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Y'all didn't read my notes. I'm so sorry.
But you do yours, Angela, then we'll all come up. You do yours, Commissioner Powell, and then we'll all come up.
Oh, I'm so sorry, my colleagues. I'm so sorry. I didn't follow the notes. Sorry, everyone. You
No,
stay up.
no.
So come on. All my colleagues, are they just to come up? My colleagues, yeah, just come up, colleagues. Come on. That's why Sarah was looking at me crazy. I'm sorry. Come on. I didn't follow directions.
Are you having everybody come up?
So all the commissioners, bring yours. Yeah, I know. I'm so sorry. Come up. Every individual come up. And we're first. So we're gonna move. And I'm gonna let whoever wanna go next, go next.
It's okay, no big deal. You know, women are flexible. As I said, this is our first inaugural event, so. So I'd like to take this opportunity to introduce everyone to Jennifer Graham. Jennifer Graham is committed to ensuring that youth and adult voices are communicated and represented in meaningful ways. She's an advocate for the development and advancement of youth inside and outside the classroom. As an elementary school teacher, Jennifer has mentored colleagues, parents, and students on leadership and purposeful participation. Outside the classroom, she is a dedicated community volunteer, serving on the Juneteenth and United We Walk committees. She served as chairperson for United We Walk in West Bloomfield since 2016, which brings the community together to celebrate the life and legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King with various activities. My honor to present this to you. You want to say anything? No? Yes?
Thank you very much. Thank you for nominating me.
Short and sweet.
Yes.
Let's stand over here.
Thank you. My honoree could not be here this evening, but I did nominate, and we're honoring Barb Allison tonight. She's committed to the history and unique heritage of White Lake. She served as president of the White Lake Historical Society for 6 years and is currently the organization's director of communications. Barb has researched the Milford Times editions from 1871 to 1978. That's a lot of newspaper editions. Her work as a local historian also led to the creation of a White Lake driving history tour along with a companion booklet. She volunteers for the Fisk Farm Festival and all open house events at the property. She's currently working on a book chronicling the history of White Lake's police and fire, and she has another book planned on the history of veterans in White Lake. She has been vital in educating the public and preserving the knowledge related to the community's past. And on behalf of Chairman Woodward and myself, we present her with this honor and tribute. I'd just like to add that she's had a very rough year. She lost her sister and her brother, or her husband, within months of each other. So I think she'll just appreciate this from the Board of Commissioners, and thank you guys for doing this.
This is my friend Tia Marie Sanders. Tia Marie is an activist working toward financially equitable access and inclusion for Black Americans, women, and children. She founded the Tia Marie Sanders Foundation, which provides grants, training, and capacity building for small nonprofits focused on ending racial, social, and economic disparities. She's co-founder of Novi's Feed the Need summer lunch program, which provides lunch to children for 11 weeks during the summer. Since 2015, the organization has provided over 13,000 lunches to children under age 17. And during the COVID-19 pandemic, services were expanded to provide fresh produce, meat, and dairy products throughout community partnerships. I'm very honored to present our Novi resident, Tia Marie Sanders.
I just want to say thank you, to Commissioner Gwen Markham. She has been like a champion. I have also studied at her heels and learned a lot about the community as well as serving. So just thank you. This is really an honor. And I was surprised to hear about this, so thank you.
Thank you.
I would like Commissioner Kuhn up here also, so thank you. All right, Commissioner Kuhn, my friend, and I both represent Troy. I also represent Clawson and part of Royal Oak. But I want to introduce you to Shar Larson, who lives in Troy. But she spends most of her time in Clawson. That's where her heart is. I met Shar many, many, many years ago. And walking around talking to people, everybody knows Shar. Shar really is the face of Clawson. She's been active in the Clawson community for so many years, and starting out with employment at the Clawson Community Credit Union, although it goes back further than that because it had a different name. And a different name and a different name, yeah. Yes. Mm-hmm. And after she retired from the credit union, she started her own business, Larson Consulting. What that really means to me is she consults with businesses and residents in Clawson and assists them with marketing and how to get services in Clawson. She's also the president of our Chamber of Commerce Board of Directors and spent countless hours fundraising at charity poker, at auction dinners, Claws and Paws and animal event, farmer market events, the Clawson Troy Optimist Club president, and much, much more. So when I was able to think of one person, who is one person that to me would represent Clawson and Troy, it would be Char Larson. So thank you.
Thank you. I had no idea, and I am very, very honored.
No, thank you. Do you want to come over here?
Right now, we are proud as the two commissioners that represent the city of Southfield, Michigan and Oakland County. This beautiful woman in red behind us on the screen, Mrs. Barbara Talley. It is our honor and privilege today to present you with this Women's History Month Award. As Barbara Talley, we know that you are fondly known as the mother of Southfield and the mother of Southfield politics. And because she was elected in 1983 as Southfield's first African-American city councilwoman, where she implemented an affirmative action plan. She was also the first African-American to run for the mayor of Southfield, nearly beating out an incumbent of 29 years. In 1986, Barbara founded the Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Task Force and
organized the first Peace Walk in Michigan, which continues to be the biggest in the state. In addition, she led a delegation to Mexico annually to participate in a peace celebration. She currently serves as the project director for a traveling exhibit called Pathways to Freedom in the Americas, Shared Experiences Between Michigan, USA, and Guerrero, Mexico. Presented on this March 24th, 2022 in Pontiac, Michigan, Dave Woodward, Janet Jackson, County Commissioner, District 21.
We are so proud of Barbara Talley.
Can I say thank you now?
Can we hear you? I don't know if we can hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we hear you.
Okay, I want to thank you for this distinguished award, and I certainly will place it in my home in a special place where it can't be seen. I want to just say that I was the first African-American senior financial analyst here at Oakland County government between 1980 and 1989 under County Executive Daniel Murphy, one of the founding fathers of the county government. That gives you a hint of my age. Thank you very much.
Well, you sure don't look like it, Barbara. Thank you.
I'll go next. Connie? Sir. I am honored to be here today to present this award to Constance Miller, better known to me as Connie. And as you noticed, she adjusts the mic for me because I sit on the Oxford Township Planning Commission and she sometimes films them, and I'm one of the troublemakers with the microphone. So she's always having to correct me. So yeah, surprise, surprise. Constance Miller has been generously helping others and working hard to better the Oxford community for decades. In the 1990s, she campaigned vigorously for various community issues, including proposals to build a new public library and fund police and fire services. From 1997 to 2005, Constance was an active member and leader of the Oxford Public Library Friends and was named Friend of the Year in 2005. She is also the past president of the Oxford Women's Club. Since the start of COVID-19 pandemic, Constance and her dedicated team of volunteers has been distributing prepared meals and bags of groceries to whoever needs them free of charge. Numbers in the thousands, I would assume, by this time. Yes. She also leads the free meals program at Emmanuel Congregational United Church of Christ and Congregational United Church of Christ. Always correcting me. And when she's not busy volunteering, she is also an employee of the award-winning host for Oxford Community Television, which films the Oxford Township Planning Commission, which she gets the opportunity to correct me all the time. So with this, I am proud to present this award to you, and thank you for everything you've done for the community of Oxford, and I'm honored to call you a friend.
Thank you, Mike. I only give him grief because he gives it right back. Thank you, Mike, commissioners. I could go on, but I say I'm going to cry. But the one thing I have not done publicly is thank my family. CJ Carnacchio, my husband of 21 years, and my beautiful daughter Larissa, because nothing I do works without them. So I thank you for letting me share this with them.
All right, I am humbled, honored, and blessed to be able to present this award here to Reverend Dr. Patricia W. Coleman Burns. She has spent her life advocating for the right of the persons to be free for all forms of oppression and violence. She is a University of Michigan Assistant Professor Emerita of Nursing and Black Studies. Dr. Coleman Burns has been a blessing in coordinating with the beloved community initiative of Farmington and leads a policy project on truth and reconciliation. When she's not doing that, she also co-chairs she's the co-chair of the Farmington Hills Multicultural, Multiracial Council. So I present this to you. Thank you for being a blessing to our community.
Whoever thought of this is an amazing idea. Because as a community, we want to make sure our voices are heard, that the people that we elect that represent us hear us, see us, and respect us. And so all of these that are up here, I am so glad to be in your presence. And I just want to point out this young man. You know your work does well. When he was 13 years old, he was my mentee. And now I'm bringing him into the ministry in the church, in the African Methodist Episcopal Church. So God bless all of you, and thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chuck Moss, 12th District. In the city of Birmingham, there may be some famous people there, but the best known person is a woman from about 100 years ago named Martha Baldwin, and there's a Baldwin Park, a Baldwin Street, a Baldwin House, a Baldwin Library. In our generation, Dorothy Conrad is our generation's Martha Baldwin. She could not make it tonight, but in a long career she's not a community activist, she's the community activist. You can get mad at the chamber, the mayor, whatever, but don't ever get Dorothy Conrad angry with you. She's done just about everything. She is hopefully listening tonight. She has long stood up for clean government, citizen involvement, and most of all, women in government. It's my distinct honor. Believe me, I've gotten enough phone calls from Dorothy mad at me, so it's my distinct pleasure to nominate. We have a First Citizen Award, and of course she's won it, but our real first citizen for the city of Birmingham is Dorothy Conrad. It's my honor to nominate her.
I am going to take my privilege that I did not get. It's part of my personality and part of the success of what I do. I will be very short because I only need to say that all I do is for the reason of impacting the quality of life for those in my community and communities around. Some of you may know me as the person that's directing the kids when they're dropping those marshmallows out the sky for Oakland County. But I end with, this honor impacts my quality of life.
Commissioners, we're going to follow behind. Okay. Oh, we have someone who tells us. Stand right here. Stand right here.
Yep, stand right
Oh, in
there.
front of that.
Oh, you can stand in front of the seal. Yeah, get in tight.
You good?
There we go.
Squeeze in. Come on.
Charlie, you gotta stand back, you're too tall.
So you're holding your pack on the edge here, so we can make sure that. So just, yeah.
Look short guys, huh? Yeah, no kidding. That's why we're in the front. That's right. I'm on my tiptoes too. Right. You got your lifts in and everything, huh? That's right. Whatever it takes. Yeah. Nice job. Thank you.
So again, to all the awardees. You good? So in closing, commissioners.
So you've got me all set,
So in closing, really quick, I just want to say again, thank you to all the recipients who could make it here today. You took time out to be here this evening. Thank you. If you do have to leave, that's fine. We just really wanted you to come and receive your award. And then I also want to give an extra appreciation to every commissioner who participated, because I didn't know the number, but I just thought I'd just throw it out there and see who will participate. So thank you. I truly appreciate it. Thank you.
Miss Talley, if you want to go ahead and drop, you can.
The band.
wow, that was so exciting, and the beginning of a long tradition, I'm sure. So now we will move on to communications, and I'd like to ask the clerk if there are any communications to come before us this evening. Thank you, and we don't need a motion to receive and file because there weren't any. Okay, very good. So now we come to the part of our meeting where we have the first public comment, which is limited only to items on the consent and regular agendas. There'll be a second public comment later for other topics. I have 2 people signed up. If you didn't get a chance to sign up, I'll give you the opportunity to speak after those who have signed up. So I will now welcome the illustrious Catherine Kennedy. She's not here? She left? Okay, well, we will move on to Sandra Carolyn.
Okay, this is in reference to the 7A Women's History Month Award. I'd like to make an addition, even though as citizens we can't officially nominate anyone or schedule presentations. She had to step out early tonight, but I would like to honor Catherine Kennedy from Lake Orion, a sad omission in the presentation. She volunteers here at Oakland County. She continually serves, researches lengthy Oakland County packets of agendas on behalf of the tax-paying public. She's a true citizen patriot. She comes here without awards or applause, salaries, gas money, or approval. She loves her country and her county. No one takes her picture, and she rarely gets a pat on the back. I call her County Commissioner's conscience. Her knowledge of budget items amazes me and likely irritates you. She's here more than many of the commissioners. She serves in the public comments, and our county would do well to heed her advice. No framed award, just much deserved thank you, Catherine.
Thank you, is it Carolyn? Yep. Carolyn. Is there anyone else that didn't get a chance to sign up that would like to speak in the first public comment? Okay, so seeing none, I'd like to close the first public comment, and we will move on to reports of standing committees. First are the items on the consent agenda. Do we have a motion to adopt the items on the consent agenda? Moved by Commissioner Lubes, supported by Commissioner Nelson. Any discussion? Seeing none, I'll ask the clerk to prompt the vote on the adoption of the consent agenda.
You can now vote at your desks, sorry. Madam Chair, you have 20 yeas, 0 nays.
With a sufficient number voting in the affirmative, the items on the consent agenda have been adopted, which moves us on to the regular agenda. We have 2 committees to come before us today, and with that, I will first call on Finance Committee Chairperson, the Honorable Gwen Markham.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Tonight, I present a resolution for the fiscal year 2022 first quarter financial forecast and budget amendments. I move that.
Do we have a second? Commissioner Weipert? Any discussion? Commissioner Moss?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm going to be voting no on this, as I voted in committee. Not because of any particular defect in the document itself. It's internally consistent and balanced, but I believe that unfortunately it's kind of out of touch in some ways with reality. We have inflation running now. It's been clocked in at 7.9%. Looking at the Fed figures, every dollar that we had is now 92 cents. And I think that now is the time to start realizing we're in for one heck of a wild ride now for the next, for however long this lasts. And we should start planning now. And we should start working on what are we going to cut and what lines are we going to hold, and when are we going to really kind of dig in, because believe me, we are going to be in for some very bumpy times. So I'm going to be voting no on this, not because there's any prejudice against the document itself, but because of what it doesn't have and what it should have. So thank you very much. That's why I voted no in committee and why I'm going to vote now.
Thank you, Commissioner Moss. Is there any other comments, any other discussion? Hearing none, will the clerk please prompt the vote? So are we voting again? It just came up. Yep. So we're now voting for the same thing, but we're voting again. That's a good thing Miss Kennedy isn't here.
Vote early, vote often.
I know.
Madam Chair, you have 18 yeas, 2 nays.
With a sufficient number of votes in the affirmative, the resolution has been adopted.
That concludes the report of the Finance Committee, Madam Chair.
Thank you. I will now call upon Legislative Affairs and Government Operations Committee Chairperson, the Honorable Kristen Nelson.
Thank you, Madam Vice Chair. I have one item under the Legislative Affairs and Government Operations Committee. It's item A, declaring Oakland County's support, respect, and appreciation of our law enforcement officers.
So we have a motion by Nelson. Do we have a second? Commissioner Joliet? Any discussion? I'm sorry. Do you want to speak to it? No. No. Commissioner Cavell?
Yeah, thank you, Chair. I just wanted to say that while I don't always agree with like the structural or theoretical actions behind policing in general, and I think a lot of the members of our district agree, I do believe that the people that are law enforcement officers are doing the real work and they have tough jobs, so I respect the hell out of them for what they do, so I'm happy to support this and just appreciate y'all bringing it up.
Thank you, Commissioner Cavell. Are there any other comments? Seeing none, I'll ask the clerk to prompt the vote.
You can vote at your desks. Madam Chair, you have 20 yeas, 0 nays.
With a sufficient number of votes in the affirmative, the resolution has been adopted. So that concludes that committee business, and we will now move on to the special order of business. Seeing none, or, okay. Commissioner Lubes?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I have a miscellaneous resolution appropriating American Rescue Plan Act local fiscal recovery funds to increase licensed mental health professionals in all 28 local school districts and the public school academies in Oakland County in partnership with the Oakland schools. And I'd like to refer it to the Public Health and Safety Committee.
Thank you, Commissioner Loops. Without objection, it will be referred to the Public Health and Safety Committee.
Thank you.
Commissioner Kokendorfer?
Hi, thank you, Madam Chair. I just have a resolution to introduce. It's entitled Resolution Affirming the First Amendment Rights of All Parents at School Board Meetings, and I'd request that be referred to the Legislative Affairs and Government Operations Committee.
Thank you, Commissioner Kokendorfer. Without objection, it will be referred to the LAGO Committee. Is that okay? And I also have a resolution appropriating funds for the Child Care Tuition Assistance Program for Oakland County families in partnership with Oakland Livingston Human Service Agency, and I'm going to refer this to the Economic Development and Infrastructure Committee. Commissioner Markham.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I have a resolution, Board of Commissioners resolution appropriating American Rescue Plan Act local fiscal recovery funds for a broadband feasibility study, and I would like it referred to Economic Development and Infrastructure Committee.
Without objection, it shall be referred, and I forgot to say that for mine. So without objection, mine shall be referred as well. Is there any other special order of business or new or miscellaneous business? Okay, so that takes us now to announcements. Are there any announcements? Commissioner Miller?
Thank you, Madam Chair. And I did not give you one of these papers. I do apologize. I will give you one. So I handed out to all the commissioners. So this year, after 2 years of being in COVID, Michigan Construction Career Days is back on in person, where it's hosted at the Operating Engineers Training Center, but all the trades are there. You have the carpenters, electricians, pipe fitters, plumbers, boiler makers, iron workers, anybody that's a tradesperson's there. And it's an opportunity for students from middle school to high school to have an opportunity to just get introduced to a trade. They can get on equipment, they can dig a hole, swing a crane, weld a weld, build a little tin box. We also have the sheet metal workers out there. We get 3,000 students from across Michigan, right? And so I ask if you could send this to your superintendents, it's schools, it's free to the schools. On this website, the Michigan Career Days pays for the fuel for the students to go there and back, because we want to make sure there's no like blockade for them seeing what other career would be. So, thank you.
Thank you. Where did you say it's going to be?
It's in Howell at the Operating Engineers Training Site.
And the date?
560 acres.
The date was?
Oh, I'm sorry, it's May 4th and 5th.
Thank you.
Yes,
Sounds
thank
like
you.
a great event. Commissioner Kowal.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd just like to comment on, we had a great MAC legislative conference Monday, Tuesday, and early Wednesday that covered lots of topics from ARPA spending to the broadband connectivity, cybersecurity, which was really kind of pretty scary. Gave everybody a really big heads up there, but I'd urge everybody who, when you can, to please attend these conferences. You do learn a lot, you network a lot. But for those who can't make it, please look at the MAC website, because they will be posting all these breakout sessions and the plenary sessions that they had. So I just urge everybody to do that, and also to support MACPAC. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Miller?
Yeah, just to add, so Commissioner Kowal did a great job as the second vice president for MAC. And I'll ask her, like, are you ever going to log on to somebody else's internet? That cybersecurity was scary. Yeah. It just makes you think about how people could steal your information. But it is a good thing. I just wanted to comment on that and said she did a good job, and they had her up there doing a lot of speaking, and there was a lot of people there, a lot of good connections there, and learning different things from different communities. So it was really good.
Sounds like we were well represented. Thank you, Commissioner Kowal. Commissioner Powell.
I just want to take this time to thank the Oakland County Sheriff's Department. I know you all have heard about the recent shooting we had with the little girl that got killed in the drive-by. I just want to say our Sheriff Department aggressively they just aggressively handled making sure we apprehend these two individuals. I got some good news. We got one of the two. They just told me that. And again, I just want to say thank you and just keep praying for the city of Pontiac. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Powell. We certainly will. That moved, is there anybody else? Commissioner Spiz?
Yes, I'd like to take this opportunity, not really an announcement, but I'd like to thank Commissioner Powell for putting this entire thing together for Women's History Month. Thank you. Because it's good to see us actually do something other than put a piece of paper through and us all vote on it. And it's something I've been pushing Chairman Woodward for to do more of. So Commissioner Powell has set the bar for all of us going forward. So if we have any resolutions going forward, we need to compete with that. Thank you, Commissioner Powell.
Thank you, Commissioner Powell. And I also want to call out Commissioner Charles and Commissioner Jackson for their contributions to this incredible event. Anybody else have an announcement or anything they'd like to share? I don't want my time to be over so quick. Okay, that moves us on to the second public comment, and we do have a fair amount of speakers signed up. So I would like to first call Brother Thomas Sarafa, and followed by Thomas Yazbeck. You have 3 minutes.
Greetings, my brothers and sisters. Good to see you again. From my last comment several months ago, before we had the disruptions of the maskless people here, I ended my last comments with how we treat the poor and the needy and those who are not as economically prosperous as some of us are, is the way we're going to be looked at in history. I think we can all agree on that. Public transportation is not a Democratic issue. It is not a Republican issue. It is a people issue. The city of Auburn Hills just recently voted to eliminate funding out of their city for bus service. That means that Oakland University, which is our major university in this county, will not be accessible for people that don't drive, as well as the campus of Oakland Community College that's just down the street from the university. I think that's grossly unfair because there's a lot of students that can't afford cars and they rely on buses to get around. I like to go up to Great Lakes Mall occasionally on the bus. That'll be inaccessible to me and to many senior citizens that don't live in the area, that can't access the shuttles that you have to call for three days in advance. It also eliminates the possibility of people that want to catch that bus to go up to Flint that originates at the Great Lakes Mall. I have friends that live up in the Flint area. That's the way I go visit them. We have an opportunity to put this on the ballot to refund the smart bus system in Oakland County here. And I ask you to please consider putting this on the ballot so that the people like me can have a voice. And other people too that feel like they don't have a voice. So please consider that. Thank you.
Thank you, Brother Sarafa. Next is Thomas Yazbeck, followed by Andrew Sarpoulos.
Hi, can everyone hear me? My name is Thomas Yazbeck. I live in Rochester Hills. So I am a member of Transportation Riders United. We are a transportation advocacy group. I went to Michigan State University, as you can see by my hat. Go green. When I was at MSU, the CATA bus system was a lifeline for me, especially during my freshman year. Freshmen aren't allowed to have cars. You know, you take the bus to go to the football games. You could take the bus to go to class, which I did most of the time. You could take the bus to go to Meridian Mall on the east side. You could take the bus to go to the Capitol on the west side of Lansing. So, you know, as I moved on in school, I used the bus for different purposes. When I'm back here in Oakland County where I grew up, and I often visit the campus of Oakland University. Oakland University students are not as lucky as MSU students are, or not as blessed with great transportation options. There's one smart bus route that serves Oakland University, and the recent vote in Auburn Hills put that in jeopardy. You know, Oakland University students that don't have a car, a lot of times they're out of luck. They can't get to Rochester, which is where the nearest shopping is. They can't get to even the nearest Meijer store is not accessible to them. The Meijer that they can go to get groceries is not easy for them to get to. You know, people that use public transportation don't fit in one mold. You have some people that ride the bus all the time, for every trip they make. You have some people that just ride it to get to work. You have other people who ride it occasionally for things like football games or concerts, right? Our transportation system has to serve everybody. And, you know, it's not fair that Oakland County is this patchwork system where individual communities decide to eliminate service. Because the cities that don't have transit did have it back in the day. That's a very important thing to talk about. It's a political decision. Now, I've been a smart bus rider for years now. I actually rode the bus on the way here. And we have an opportunity to expand smart countywide. We're not asking for much. We're just asking for buses to go to new places that they haven't been going for 30 years. We want to see a transportation system that everybody can use, right? That there's no limits on. I mean, I live in Rochester Hills. The nearest bus stop is only a couple miles away. It's an annoying distance because it's too long for me to walk, but it's a very short car ride. I don't want to have to drive to get to the nearest bus stop, and I want to be able to walk there. That's the big thing that I want, and it's just frustrating that we're not even given the opportunity to vote on it because our city councils won't entertain the idea, and it's up to them. I think that the county should give everybody in Oakland County a choice on this. And if people don't want it, that's okay, but we need to vote. We need to have a chance to vote on a county-wide smart millage that includes every municipality. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Yazbeck. Next is Andrew Sarpolis, followed by Christian Milficek. Forgive me if I didn't pronounce it correctly.
Let's see, can you hear me? Okay, great. Greetings, commissioners. My name is Andrew Sarpolis. I am here today to speak on the issue of public transportation, particularly with regard to the expansion of this smart system. I am one of the leaders and co-founders of a movement known as Turn Oakland County Green. And in the past, we have had the privilege of addressing this body before on a number of issues, including native plants, climate change, and many other environmental topics. I consider many on the commission to be deeply committed environmentalists, and I know I have shared with a number of the members the tremendously difficult situation we find ourselves in with regards to the environment in the 21st century. As someone who grew up in Oakland County, in the Oakland County area, who has lived here for a vast majority of my life, I see the changes. The precipitation patterns are shifting, species are migrating, and we're experiencing a gradual shift in our average temperature. Globally, we see wildfires, droughts, and displacement. Public transportation is a critical transit option for our residents and for fighting climate change. It is strongly associated in many studies with upward social mobility, giving people a hand to get out of poverty and to live the American dream. It releases less emissions like ground-level ozone and sulfur dioxide that are harmful asthma triggers. It eliminates our dependence on oil from dictatorships like Russia, who try to use their energy reserves as a piggy bank to undermine our elections and attack independent nations. But most importantly, it reduces our transportation emissions, which is about 30% of our climate puzzle, and curbs those emissions more than any other motorized options, and it's accessible to everybody. We cannot afford to enter this next decade with our current system underinvested, spotty, and inaccessible to the places that need it. I have a car, but I like to ride the bus when I can, and I ride it because I want to have kids soon, and I don't want to leave them a planet that is in worse shape than how I found it. But the reality is that I have to make far too many trips in the car here in Oakland County, not because I want to, but because I am forced to by decades of underinvestment in our system. I appreciate the work of this commission, and I think we have many advocates here for better transportation options. But I ask tonight for consideration on what we're leaving behind if we allow a chance to advance our region to slip through our fingers for a number of years when time is so critical. How will we meet the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change's 45% reduction target by 2030 if we don't start fixing our system until 2024 or 2026? Please, for the sake of our future, I ask tonight for consideration for how we can expeditiously expand this system. We must do it if we're going to share a better world for our grandchildren, and I hope we will have your support. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sarpolis. Next is Kristen Milficek, followed by Elizabeth Sadowski.
Chuck did this before. I never wrote.
Hi, my name is Kristen Milficek. I've had my disability my whole life. There's an outdated assumption that disability is a medical condition, only when in reality, disability is less about medical conditions as it is about social and environmental ones that, as the Americans with Disabilities Act specifies, limit a person's functioning in major areas of life activities. Mobility is one of those major life activities, but it doesn't end with a person's medical diagnosis or at their front door. Access to affordable and reliable transportation is consistently at the intersection of the challenges faced by the disability community and every other marginalized, disenfranchised community. I spent the majority of my life living in Oakland County. I've listened to dozens of people who live and work here about the challenges of maintaining independence and good health without access to the transportation services they need. People with disabilities who live or work in smart opt-out areas are excluded from reaching their full potential and leading full inclusive lives. Smart paratransit, or the door-to-door transit service that only operates in specific townships or municipalities, aren't sufficient for people who can't drive themselves and can only ride in vehicles that are outfitted for their mobility equipment. Remember, the worst parts of the pandemic, when everyone was in lockdown, for many who live in transit voids, day-to-day life already looked like that. Is it right to continue to hold back people who can't drive or can't afford to? The solution is simple. We need to expand SMART to be a countywide service.
Thank you, Ms. Milchek. Next is Elizabeth Sadowski, followed by Stephen Hammondtree.
Good evening. My name is Elizabeth Sadowski, and I am a family law attorney in Rochester. I'm speaking in support of public transportation, too, from a perspective y'all might not have considered. In the 30-some years I've been in practice, domestic violence has been part and parcel of my practice. But in recent years, it's been getting worse, much, much worse. And any family law practitioner will tell you that's true. We know, as I hope you all recognize, domestic violence is not limited to any particular economic strata. It affects all people of all economic areas. But for domestic violence victims who have limited economic means, they are particularly victimized because they have no escape except maybe their shoe leather. Okay, you can make it maybe to a shelter, but then what? You have no money, you have been dependent financially on your abuser. You're trapped. You're really, really trapped. And the only way you can make it is by trying to get a grip on whatever small amount of social help you can find. But if you don't have a car, or if you have a car and you can't afford to keep it, you can't get a job. You can't go to school to get an education because you don't have a way to get there. You are trapped in a particular, and let me tell you, domestic violence is a generational thing. You can trace it on down the line. Women, especially women, but it's also men, but it's mainly women, who cannot escape this trap, have no other resources, and they keep delivering the same message to their children. This is how it is. There's no other way out, and it gets fed down the line. So I'm asking you, when this comes up for a vote, just think about the fact that you have the key to be able to unlock the prison door of a lot of people in your community. You can really do some good. So please, when you think about public transportation, think about the victims of domestic violence who will benefit immensely from having the freedom to be able to have some measure of security. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Sadowski. Next, we have Stephen Hammondtree, followed by Michael Keswith.
Good evening, Commissioners. My name is Stephen Hammondtree from East Point. I may not presently be an Oakland County resident, but it has very strong ties to my heart. Growing up, I lived with my parents in Rochester, Troy, and Novi, and as I started to get independent and go places for myself, I lived with my dad in Wixom. My first school was in Troy. My first job was in Hazel Park. And while it might be a little later than I was expecting earlier in my life, May 21st of this year, I will be at Oakland University's Arena as part of Oakland Community College's commencement ceremony. Thank you. We went to concerts at Pine Knob in Independence Township. We had yearly trips to the Renaissance Festival in Holly, and Mom would even take me to the Yates Cider Mill in Rochester Hills. Imagine my and my mom's shock then when a sudden stroke took away her ability to drive 6 years ago. I never liked driving, so I didn't even have my license at the time. It took me another 3 years to get it. And my dad was long since gone. He and mom are still good friends, but they don't live together anymore. So suddenly all of these yearly traditions aren't possible anymore. All the places I liked to see as a kid and still like going to every so often, not accessible. The friends I used to visit, we grew apart. I couldn't get over to them anymore. Mom and I are fortunate that we live in a part of Macomb County that does have public transit, which, to be fair, is all parts of Macomb County, but the south more so than the north. Mom registered for the ADA paratransit, so we can still get around where we need to, when we need to. And because Macomb County is all in, that means that we can go anywhere in the county as long as we have a plan ahead a little bit. And it's wheelchair accessible. We can also visit Southeast Oakland or Northeast Wayne, but only those portions of those counties. And the All In recently gave us a chance to experience the cider mill trips again. Not quite Yates, because that's Rochester Hills, but there's one in Armada Township known as Blake's, way deep in rural Macomb County, but it's still Macomb County, so it's still accessible by bus. And it was our first time there since the stroke last year. And it was amazing to both of us getting to be there again. So I want to see the same all-in happen to Oakland County so that we can go to these places even if we're not from them anymore. Thank you, and have a great night.
Thank you, Mr. Hammontree, for sharing your story. Next is Michael Coswith, followed by Kaylee Wang.
Hello, my name is Michael Kasuth. I live at 1151 Rochester, 1151 Ironwood Court in Rochester, Michigan, right across from the park. I'd like to take a moment to recognize today is 1 month since Russia invaded Ukraine, and over 1,000 civilians have been killed, including over 100 children. I'd like to take a moment to think for the people over there who are literally fighting for their democracy. Thank you. I want a bus stop in my town. Seems to be a very difficult thing to do. There are so many reasons that I want one, but mostly just to have the option so I don't have to be in a car. I hate sitting in traffic. I hate having to find parking. I hate having to pay for parking. I've had my car sideswiped in parking lots while I'm driving. It sucks. I want the option. There might be many of you that see yourselves as defenders of liberty for your purpose in public service. What about my liberty to choose not to own a car? My liberty to choose to take a bus? Please fight for that. Seems like I watch the news a lot. I read the news a lot. I love reading the Detroit Free Press. Seems like everybody now is talking about gas prices and how they're out of control, and it's just panic. I rarely see people putting two and two together to say, why don't we have other options other than driving a car? Why do we have to drive cars everywhere? Why does everybody need to own a car? In many parts of Oakland County, why do you implicitly need to own a car in order to live there? If I want to go grocery shopping, I either have to walk for 10 minutes or more. That's not possible for so many people. I want the option. Please fight for my option. Need to schedule an opt-in vote soon. Let the people decide. I promise there are many of us out there. There are many more people than the ones here. We are all over the place. When I talk to people about this, that I'm doing this, people get excited. They want buses. They want the option. Please. Thank you. Have a great night.
Thank you very much. Kaylee Wang.
Can everyone hear me?
Yep.
Hello, Commissioners. My name is Callie Wang. I'm a public transportation advocate with Motor City Freedom Riders, and I'm also an automotive engineer and former Royal Oak resident. I actually moved to Royal Oak to begin my job, and when I began, I didn't have a car. So for those first couple days and weeks, I commuted by bus, by a smart bus. I never had to wait alone at the bus stop. but often I was the only person wearing a white shirt instead of a custodian's or cafeteria worker's uniform. I knew that once I got my first paycheck, I got the down payment ready for a car, but not everybody could afford that option. Seeing that, it's clear to me why car companies like GM and Ford have continued to support transit in the region. And SMART has good foundations, they're innovating, and they're providing services to a lot of people. But there are some key limitations. Recent events have shown that the current system of transit opt-outs makes it impossible to run public transit in a cost-efficient way, and it leaves out too many county residents. That includes seniors, people with disabilities. That's why I think it's time for Oakland County to go all in on SMART. Expanding SMART to cover the whole county will connect businesses with and opt-in communities with employees that they need. It'll boost funding for local senior transit services like NODA. It'll give low-income community members and people with special needs the freedom they need to make all of life's journeys, regardless of what community that they live in. Finally, it'll give all residents an alternative to paying these skyrocketing gas prices. We know that there are folks in the commission and the county who are working with SMART on what things could look like if transit was expanded to the whole region. I think now is a good time to make the plans public, to engage with the public, and put it on the ballot and let the people of all of Oakland County decide. Transit is an essential service, just like roads or water. It doesn't care about boundary lines, it doesn't care about political boundaries. It's something that people in every community need. Life doesn't end at city limits. I say let's bring SMART to the whole county, and I hope we have your support in this matter. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Wang. That is the end of the people that have signed up for the second public comment. Is there someone else that didn't get a chance to sign up? If so, just please tell us your name and the community you're from.
I did, thank you. Nick Schreck from Bloomfield Township, and I've lived in Oakland County for about 37 of my 42 years. I was born in Rochester. Nice to hear a lot of Rochester people here tonight. Was a homeowner in Royal Oak for a number of years, and then my wife and I purchased our home in Bloomfield Township in 2010, in part because of the transit opportunities that I had right along Maple to go to Maple, to Woodward, and downtown. I work in the city of Detroit. I'm a law professor at Detroit Mercy Law School. And so for the last 12 years, we've been a one-car household, and it's been wonderful. We've saved tens of thousands of dollars in just having one vehicle rather than two vehicles. My wife's a public school teacher up in Rochester. She drives up there. I take the bus downtown and return home. And it's so wonderful to have that opportunity, and it does pain me listening to folks that they want that same opportunity for themselves. You know, the money that we can save by having one car instead of two goes into maintaining our home, goes into improving our home, helping beautify the neighborhood, continuing to be good citizens, having a little bit of extra money at the end of the month to give back. I mean, these are things that having the freedom of not having to have automobiles can provide for us. Now, I ride the bus because it's convenient for me. I can read the paper, I can listen to the radio, drink my coffee in peace without worrying about other drivers on the road. That's the bus driver's responsibility. And it's also, like I said, very affordable. We've heard about gas prices. That's another thing that certainly isn't at the top of people's minds. But for me, it's a convenience. On the bus, I see people from all walks of life. I've run into doctors at 13 in Woodward, people getting on from Beaumont Hospital there, doctors, nurses, cleaners, you name it, getting on, going home, back and forth to work. Bill gets on the bus in Birmingham. He's an engineer down at GM, right there on the riverfront. You know, you talk to these people, you meet them. I mean, these are folks that are using this as either a lifeline to get to work, to get to school, or because it's convenient. And so, you know, like I said, I've lived in Oakland County almost all my life. I really enjoy it here. It's a community that I very much value. But when I think long term, when I look at my neighbors on either side of me that are both in their 80s, it's a struggle for them to get to the grocery store. You know, they have food delivery brought in. There isn't a transit option for them to get easily to the corner to catch a bus, and that's true all over Oakland County. So when I think about aging in place and wanting to be here, I'm thinking long and hard about communities that provide those transit options and the ability for me to have dignity and to have some agency and the ability to continue to live a full life as an elder when perhaps I might not be able to drive anymore. So, like many here tonight, I encourage you to please let the people vote. Put it on the ballot. Let's do transit Oakland County wide. Connect to the communities like they used to be back in the day. You could hop on the train in Lake Orion and get all the way to Detroit. Let's make that happen again. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Schrock. Is there anyone else that would like to speak in public comment that did not sign up? I just would like to take a moment of personal privilege and thank the gentleman who brought the events of Ukraine back into this meeting and keeping us with their struggle. Is there anyone else that would like to make an announcement? Commissioner Charles?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just wanted to say, in recognizing March as Women's History Month, that as far as I'm aware, it's the first time we've had 2 women lead our meeting here in the County of Oakland. It's only 2022, so just wanted to recognize you guys.
Thank you. I admit, it's exciting. So if there's nothing else, no more business to conclude, I will adjourn this meeting to April 14th, 2022, or call of the chair. Good night, everyone.
Good night.